Hi everyone, my name is Rina. You're on the Jesting Ginger channel where we share the insights, stories and everything you need to know about airlines and the cabin crew life. And today we are talking about the Qatar Airways, the best airlines in the world, but here's the thing, majority of the crew don't last even one contract. And today we're going to discover why. Also, we're going to talk about the history of the airlines, what it takes to become a Qatar Airways crew, the perks of this job, and of course its famous strict rules which scared most of the applicants. If you're ready, fasten your seatbelt because we are flying right into it. Back in 2019, I was lucky enough to receive not one, but two job offers from two really nice famous airlines, Qatar and Emirates, despite the fact that Qatar was the first one with their job offer and they were the best airlines in the world by the SkyTax rating. At that year, when Emirates offered me to become an Emirates cabin crew, I didn't hesitate and I accepted the offer straight away. And you know what? I was not the only one. Actually, quite many people choose Emirates over Qatar if they have this option because Qatar has its reputation. And today I'll tell you why in the crew community we're calling Qatar Guantanamo. But before that, let's discuss the history of these airlines, why people actually want to work as a Qatar cabin crews and the perks of this job. Founded in 1993, Qatar Airways grew to become one of the fast-growing airlines in the world. By 2013, it joined One World Airlines, solidifying its reputation as a leading global carrier. With a fleet of over 200 aircrafts and a network spanning 150 destinations, Qatar Airways has been named the world's best airlines by Skytrax 8 times. In 2011, 12, 15, 17, 19, 21, 22, and the most recent in 2024. Its ultra-luxurious Q-seat set a new standards in business class, and Doha's Hamad International Airport is a hub that reviled the best in the world. This is definitely a story of an incredible success, and definitely Qatar is one of the best airlines in the world. They have so many awards, but is it that nice to work as a Qatar cabin crew? So what does it take to become a Qatar Airways cabin crew? They are pretty straightforward with their requirements. Here on the screen you can see the requirements from Qatar Airways official website. They are quite similar to other airlines requirements, like you should be at least 21 years old before you're applying for this position, be able to reach 212 centimeters on your tiptoes, have at least high school certificates, be fluent in English both spoken and written. Also, you should have quite a nice personality, be able to get along with other people super fast, and it's gonna be a plus if you have an experience in hospitality sector. So as I said, there are quite basic requirements for this position. You will see them on other airlines as well, but it's just the beginning. You should also pass through the open door assessment day and then through intensive cabin crew training before you'll be able to work as a Qatar Airways cabin crew. Before we proceed to the darker side of the Qatar Airways, we're gonna talk about the perks of being Qatar Airways flight attendant. First of all, salary. You're gonna start from economy class and you should expect from 2,500 to 3,000 US dollars per month. Depends how many flight hours you have per month and which destination you're flying to. Also, it's a tax-free salary, so that's quite nice. Also, Qatar Airways provide you with a fully furnished accommodation, so you don't need to pay for it, and they will cover utility bills. You'll be sharing an apartment with 2 or 3 flatmates, and most of them are in a nice area and quite modern. Qatar Airways cover your international medical insurance plan, transportation to work and to your accommodation, and of course allowances on your layover, so you don't spend spend much of your own money. And don't forget about the travel perks. Qatar Airways is the well-known company, so you're gonna have a discount not only with them but also with so many airlines worldwide, and those discounts are amazing. They're quite similar to Emirates, and I miss it so much. That's amazing. Those travel benefits is the best that you could get. I swear. You need to move to the Qatar Doha to work for the Qatar Airways because they have base only there, but in that city you will have a lot of the discounts over so many pools, retails. So there is the perks as well, so you don't need to spend as much as you could while living in Qatar Doha. In the crew community, Qatar Airways has a famous nickname Guantanamo, by the name of the prison, because of its extremely strict rules. Most of these rules were implemented during the region of the former CEO Akbar al-Bakr, and he is a person because of which Qatar Airways get this reputation. Now I'm going to tell you about the old rules why Qatar Airways is famous. Because of them, not all of them exist nowadays. There are some lights at the end of the tunnel, and I'm gonna tell you afterwards. But now we will discuss all the rules that are still in a company or there were in a company. We're gonna start with one of the most famous one, is a curfew. Basically, you need to be at home in your crew accommodation before 4 a.m. every day, even on your days off, and you should be there at least till 7 in the morning. The crew were using a specific access card, and there was also the cameras that were always making sure that the crew are following this curfew. There is also the curfew in the layovers or before the duty, so they should be at least 12 hours before the duty in the hotel room or in the cabin crew accommodation. There are also restrictions on the personal appearance and behavior. Qatar Airways crew were not allowed to wear jeans except the business attire, black one, on their office, technical buildings, Qatar Airways headquarters, and while traveling, even for leisure, with Qatar Airways. There are also quite strict grooming standards, like the amount of makeup you should have, and for example that you're not allowed to chew gum when you have your uniform on, but they are quite similar with Emirates, so I'm not gonna be putting a lot of attention into the grooming standards. Romantic relationships were closely monitored. First of all, you were not allowed to get married during the first contract, which lasts for 5 years. Yes, on Emirates we also had a rule that cabin crew members are not allowed to get pregnant during the first contract, which is for 3 years, but no one say anything about getting married. For example, I get married on my first contract, but on Qatar Airways you can't do that, and even after the end of your first contract, on your second contract, you need to get an approval from the company if you want to get married. So we're living in the 21st century, but still you need to ask for approval for marriage, and not from your parents but from your company. Also, if you're a female cabin crew, your male relative, your father or your brother, couldn't stay with you with the same building in your cabin crew accommodation. For example, on Emirates it was allowed, yes, it's also the Muslim country, but you were not required their permission to have your male relative staying in your cabin crew accommodation. Visitors of the opposite sex were allowed only between 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. and none of the visitors were allowed to visit you during your rest period, which is 12 hours before your flight. Cabin crew members of the Qatar Airways were not allowed to post the picture while they having the uniform on and to represent themselves as their Qatar Airways cabin crews on their social medias at all. If someone posts any photos with having the uniform on, that means that they already resigned or they're gonna be fired for those pictures. Also, you were not allowed to use your personal phone while while having your uniform on. It doesn't matter if you're on board the aircraft or anywhere else, you were just not allowed to use your phone while you're wearing a Qatar Airways uniform. For example, on Emirates, we were not allowed to use it on board the aircraft, but out of it we were if we were sitting. For example, in a hotel lobby, if we're sitting on the sofa, we can use our personal phone. On board the aircraft, crew were prohibited to discuss any political or religional topic, and as well to discuss a management on board the aircraft. Any gossips about it were prohibited. There were also some rules that were affecting your personal life, like for example, you were not allowed to smoke at all, doesn't matter if you have your uniform on or not. You were not allowed to smoke, and if someone see you on your days off smoking, they could easily report it to the company. Hey, you will be fired because of that. As well, there were some restricted items in the cabin crew accommodation, and they had those raised to your apartment to see if you have them, like alcohol or candles. Yeah, you were not allowed to have candles on your cabin crew accommodation. In this video, I won't be covering all the rules that exist in Qatar Airways. I just covered the major one that were scared a lot of people to apply for this position, and majority of the new crew didn't even survive till the end of the first year of the contract because of such rules. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel because there is a new CEO of the Qatar Airways. It feels like Qatar Airways finally loosening up under new CEO Badr Mohammed Al Mir, which plan to change Qatar Airways a lot, and they already make some of the changes to those famous, extremely strict Qatar Airways cabin crew rules. First of all, curfew changes. The thing that scares most of the crew, you don't need to be anymore from the 4 in the morning to 7 in the morning in your cabin crew accommodation on your days off. There are still some restrictions on the rest period before the flight. It used to be 12 hours, now it's 9 hours, but still it's a step in the right direction. Social media freedom is the next one. So I told you before that if you ever saw a cabin crew of the Qatar Airways on any of the social media, it means that that person already resigned, but not anymore. Nowadays, Qatar Airways cabin crew can post on their social medias picture where they have their uniform on, and they won't be reported and fired because of that. And it's also a big step for the Qatar Airways and the new management of giving its crew a bit of a freedom. Actually, you can see that a new vibe of a Qatar Airways even from the public representation, even by the social medias and the new safety video, which I love it. For me, it just doesn't give a vibe of an all strict Qatar Airways. It's so fun, and you know, Emirates also have a new safety video, and they have it all how are they saying that?
This is your no-nonsense safety video.
We don't have a no-nonsense safety video with a celebrity trying to be fun, and Qatar Airways did the opposite. They have a fun celebrity trying to be fun and explain those rules in a nice way. And to be fair, I love the safety video. If you didn't watch it, it's really nice. And you would never imagine that type of the safety video in the region of the former CEO of the Qatar Airways. So I believe they're taking a lot of steps towards the freedom. So cabin crew should expect some ease on the strict rules. So it's still Guantanamo, but it's getting better. So is a Qatar Airways becoming a better place for crew? I think it's still too early to say, but those changes are promising. Though I think in the future, Qatar Airways won't be so famous for its strict rules because they're already doing a lot of steps forwards freedom of the flight attendants, and they are still really strict. That's why many people want to work for Emirates or for Etihad, but not for Qatar, and they have still a lot of people who are resigning during the first year of the contract. Yes, it's hard to work for Qatar Airways, especially if you're an adult. I mean, you should be an adult to apply for this job, but it feels like you're living with your parents and you are again under the control and you ask for the permission for many things. That's the vibe of the Qatar Airways. That's why many people don't want to work for it, but it still gives a lot of perks. And if you're not successful with other airlines, or if you have a dream to work for that specific airlines, for the best airlines in the world, for the passengers, not for the crew, for the passengers, you still can apply. They offer a lot of perks, travel perks, like nice salary. So I won't be saying that Qatar Airways is an evil. It's just a choice. If you're ready to work under those strict rules, why not to consider this airline? So guys, I really hope you like this video. If you do, don't forget to like it and subscribe to this channel, because it gives me motivation to do more of such videos. And I believe I see you soon. Bye!